So, this is the first time I've done a live video. And Rio and I went to a football game out in Garden City, Texas this week. And I was thinking about sharing some of my thoughts from the drive home today because he slept the whole way and I didn't have radio for half of it. So, can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Okay. How's the sound? This is the first time I've done this. Somebody type in a comment and let me know if you guys can hear me. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep talking until I can get, I'm going to assume you guys can hear me. Lost me. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Hi everybody. It's Sunday night, about 8:30. Rio and I just got back from his first varsity football game. It was really super cool. But it was way out in West Texas, past San Angelo. Hi, speaking of San Angelo, hi, Heiser. It was, San Angelo was where my daughter Viva was stationed for tech school when she went to tech school for the Air Force. And so it was kind of bittersweet. We drove through San Angelo. But when you get out past there, not a lot of radio stations or anything. So with him asleep today on the way home, I spent a lot of time kind of thinking and praying and talking to God. And I've been really sick. A lot of you guys don't know this. Well, maybe if you've seen my Facebook page, you know this. But I've been really, really sick for the last couple months. Turns out I had whooping cough, also better known as, the actual medical name is pertussis. It's highly contagious. I didn't even know that it was an issue in the 21st century, but it is, and I was really sick with it, and that kept me really isolated. I didn't tell people about it. I didn't tell people that I was sick. I didn't tell anybody, you know, and we kind of had to, literally, once they found out that that's what it was, I was quarantined for 5 days, couldn't leave the house. So it was great to be able to get away from home and get out. I finished the antibiotics the same day we left for the trip. And while I was sick, I was watching a bunch of documentaries, laying on the couch, resting. And there was this one on Animal Planet. This guy was talking about animal conservation efforts, and the prevailing theory for animal conservation efforts around the world is that you limit the number of animals per acre. Okay, because the thought is if you have too many animals per acre, let's say too many cattle per acre, they're going to overgraze that acre of grassland, and then it's going to turn to dirt, and it's going to be unproductive. The cattle are going to starve, and it's going to be a problem. So they limit them. Well, that practice hasn't helped in Africa. In fact, they're losing grassland over in Africa, and it's getting worse and worse. And so there's this guy over in Africa. He says, maybe we should try the other way around. But nobody would listen to him. And so he has his own ranch, and so he decided to take a chance and do it on his own ranch land. And guess what happened? He dramatically, and I'm sorry, because I was sick, I don't remember the guy's name, but he dramatically increased the number of cattle on his one section or 1/4 of the ranch. And it went from almost desert wasteland, kind of like what we have out in West Texas, to it came back. And it came back to what it was supposed to look like. And so this guy like multiplied the number of cattle on this 1/4 of land by like 10 times. It was amazing. And so his theory is the land needs more animals because the land needs the animals to poop on it for fertilizer. It needs it to trample it, to keep it broke up so that it doesn't get hard and stony, you know, so that the grass can pop up through it, so the seeds can sprout. The land needs the trees, need the animals, need more animals to eat the little seeds and then walk around and carry the seeds a long ways, right? And then drop those seeds in their poop, and then trees can sprout. And then the more greenery you have on the land, the more moisture you can hold. The more moisture causes the rains to come. More rains, the creeks fill up, the ecosystem returned to normal. So then he did it again. He repeated the experiment on another 1/4 of land. Same results. So today, as we're driving and Rio's asleep and I got no radio station and I'm just like, okay, I'm like, God, you want to talk? And I'm looking at these fields, or what used to be fields, and now they're taken over with mesquite. And here's the thing. Now, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a botanist, I love science, but botany was never my thing. I don't know if mesquite is native out there, but I doubt it. And I remember growing up, my dad, he would always talk about mesquite being a pest, being a weed. And when my first husband and I bought our house in Euless, it had a big mesquite tree in the backyard. And my dad, he was all upset. He was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible. It's going to take over your whole backyard. You need to get rid of that mesquite tree. Well, we didn't want to do that. And it ended up being okay. But why did it end up being okay? It ended up being okay because we kept the yard mowed. We kept a garden. We had a dog. We kept the grass trampled. We never let any extra little shoots grow up, right? We kept that thing under control. So as I'm driving, God brings back to my memory. He starts talking to me about this documentary and this guy putting all these 10 times the animals on his ranch land. And by the way, he ended up proving his point to the point that now they're going to experiment on one of the national reserves. And he's drawing my attention to these fields that are they're overrun with mesquite so bad that like you'd probably have to burn them and treat them with some horrible pesticide probably to kill them. And reclaim the land. I don't know, but as I'm looking at it, he said, "Now, what used to live here before all this? What used to live here?" And I was thinking, and I was thinking, and I was thinking, and I was like, "Bison. How many bison? Hundreds of thousands of herd of bison would roam this land, and what would they do? They would trample the ground and they would keep everything tore up, just like the same theory that this guy over in Africa had, right? Well, so here's where the spiritual parallel comes in. If you think about the field as our life, and you think about the animals as the people in our life, we need people in our life. And we need a lot of people in our life. Most of us want to limit the number of people in our life because people are messy. You know, what do animals do in a field, right? They poop on a field, they graze, they chew things up, they trample on things, right? Well, that's kind of how people are. People will mess things up in your life. The more, you know, the more people you have in your life, the more ability you have to have problems. I mean, in my personal life, I used to limit myself to just 1 or 2 friends because that's all I could handle. God forbid I got a boyfriend. Well, then one of those, you know, the girl had to go. But God was showing me we need lots of people in our lives because, yeah, they may trample us a little bit. They may leave messes in our lives, but they break up the soil. They help break up the soil. They help pull out the roots because your friends aren't going to let you get away with things. Your true friends are going to call you on your stuff if you're messing around. Like, one of my very good friends was the voice of reason telling me, you're in this mess because you run yourself ragged. And he'd been telling me for months, you need to rest. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. And I didn't. And I got sick. But then I listened and I slowed down. So as I was driving, I just thought that I would share that. You know, we need people in our lives. And even Jesus told us that we need people in our lives. You know, Hebrews 10:25, he said, don't forgo assembling together. Don't forgo the assembly. And so that's why we gotta have people, even if it's messy, because they help us with growing our grass and mowing down our grass and trampling our weeds and pulling our weeds, and they help us in so many ways. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that. It was too much to kind of type out tonight since I'm tired, and thank y'all for visiting with me, and I hope it made sense. So love y'all. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.